Desperado, the wildest ride in the West and the first coaster with an entrance inside a casino.
Desperado at Buffalo Bills Resort and Casino is a massive aerodynamics hypercoaster located in Primm, Nevada that opened in the peak of the coaster wars in 1994. This was an era in the amusement scene essentially where parks wanted to continuously break records for the tallest, longest, fastest, and longest roller coasters in the world. For Desperado's case, it took all of those things and smashed the records for a brief period of time. But how is it that a hotel and casino in the middle of a desert could be going for something so ambitious, and what does the ride look like today? In this video, I wanted to dig deeper into the history behind Desperado and more importantly discuss its current operating status. The reason this video got the title that it did, being the mystery behind Desperado, is because the future of this ride is about as unknown as any other roller coaster can be. Luckily for you guys though, I think I happen to know more about Desperado's current status than 90% of other coaster enthusiasts. But let's rewind the clock to the ride's opening in 1994, where it opened with numerous record-breaking statistics. Circling around the hotel at 5,843 feet long, Desperado was a spectacle for anyone driving through Southern California to Las Vegas or vice versa. The city that the ride is in is known today as Primm, but was once upon a time just known as State Line. That is, of course, because it's the state line with Nevada and California. At the time of its opening, the ride was a huge success and would draw all sorts of age groups traveling between the two states. But unfortunately, this has not stood the test of time, as gambling and even travel to Vegas has slowly started to die out. Yeah, it's true that people became less willing to stop by and throw their money away at a slot machine, or better yet, a coaster, especially because they could do the same thing in Vegas. So because of financial hardships over the years, Desperado's operating calendar has become increasingly sporadic. Very sporadic, matter of fact. One of the biggest examples of this would be in mid to late 2017 when the ride shut down, and the popular rumor at the time was that the ride would never operate again. But in February 2018, Buffalo Bills did come out with a statement that Desperado would be back up and running soon, following some hefty maintenance. Though this was delayed for several months, the ride did eventually reopen in time for the summer of 2018. From then on out, the coaster would operate much more randomly than ever, with spontaneous closures for staffing or maintenance or whatever it may be. A similar situation happened in mid-2019, with the ride reopening just barely in the fall of 2019, around the time that I would attempt to ride Desperado. I personally stopped by for a ride on November 23rd, and although the last recorded proof of the ride operating with guests was a week prior, what could have very well been the case is that the ride last operated with guests on Friday, November 22nd, 2019, just one day before. At least that's what the employees were telling us. So obviously, missing it by what could have been one whole day was the biggest spite in my life as a roller coaster enthusiast. The fact that I could have just barely gotten on one of the most fascinating coasters in the country sometimes gets to me, and because of this, Desperado is a ride that I think about often. Since 2019 though, the rides and attractions page has actually been taken off the main menu for Buffalo Bill's website, so now the only way to access the particular site is by searching for it directly. In addition, Buffalo Bills in its entirety would completely shut down later that year, and obviously with COVID and everything that happened in the world, it still hasn't reopened to this day. But throughout the pandemic, I have been in brief contact with Buffalo Bills on and off about the future of Desperado. The first time I messaged them was in January 2021, and the response was as follows. Thank you for your email and your undying love for the Desperado. At the time, Buffalo Bills remains temporarily closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and we are hoping to open that property as soon as it is safe and meaningful to do so. While the future of the Desperado and our other attractions remains fully unknown, it may bring you joy that we are still running regular maintenance runs on the coaster, so it being closed is not at our feet. Please check back with us mid-year as we hope to be able to open Buffalo Bills once again. So that response actually told us a couple of things. The first being that the extremely popular rumor of the hotel and more probably Desperado never opening again is not totally valid. They did claim that they were doing maintenance runs on the ride still to ensure that a decision could be made for the ride whenever they choose to do so. Now last month I started thinking about the ride once more and decided to shoot them a follow-up message 7 months later. This one read, "Thank you for checking back with us. Unfortunately, nothing new has been decided with the coaster and with the Buffalo Bills property. At the time, we are still doing routine maintenance on the coaster. We anticipate an opening of Buffalo Bills around April 2022, but a specific date has not been set." So now what we're hearing sounds a bit less enthusiastic and leaves me personally with a bit of a more sour taste in my mouth. Obviously, it's good news that they are confirmed to be taking care of the ride still. Even I know this is true because I've had a couple people reach out to me claiming to have spotted some test runs rather recently. It's also interesting that we now have a spring 2022 date set for possibly reopening the resort and also maybe potentially the ride. Of course, nothing is set in stone, not even close matter of fact, but all we can do is hope for a better future regarding Buffalo Bills and the Desperado roller coaster. While that's all the information I have as of now, I would like to wrap things up with a prediction. Do I think Desperado will ever reopen again? As much as I want to confidently say yes, guess I really do not know for sure. I'd like to imagine that it will, since ever is a pretty long time, but the information that we have to work with right now is pretty dang vague. I would definitely advise you guys to keep your eyes and ears peeled and to let me know if you hear anything noteworthy surrounding the ride and the resort. Regardless of how Desperado actually rides, whether it's a good or a bad coaster, having the rare credit is something that would be a huge sigh of relief for my unfortunate spite in 2019. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye everyone.